Well, good morning, everybody. It is Sunday, September 20th, 2020, as if I need to say the year, because things are obviously a little bit different in 2020. What's not different is the feeling that I get whenever I can hear myself talking 2 minutes a second. There we go. What's not different is that whenever the fall rolls around and the temperature goes down, the air's got certain crispness in it, and the school buses start running again, and it just gets a feeling like we're getting back to something, back to church, back to everything, back to life, back to routine after summer. And this year, I kind of feel like that's the way it feels, except that we can't do any of the things that or a lot of the things that we would really like to do. Look at that, my hands disappeared. Um, One of the things that we always did at the beginning of the year was have a welcome back barbecue or breakfast or some kind of event where we would get together and have some fellowship and have some food. We can't do that. Um, Things like Sunday Club would start up again. We would have all sorts of wonderful music offerings that we can do, and that we will do. And groups would start, and meetings would start, and all this stuff. Well, we're kind of feeling our way in this, but I think things like meetings can start happening again, either by Zoom or on the front lawn or even inside the building, socially distanced. We got a nice big giant sanctuary. We can all sit 10 or 15 feet apart from each other, and that sort of thing that can happen. Um, Things like fellowship, I think, is really important, and I would like to spool some of that up again. One of the ideas I had was having our men's breakfast. We can do that again. We don't have to do that in a restaurant either. We could do it from home and on Zoom, or while the weather holds, we could get together for a cup of coffee on the front lawn. Uh, Hopefully the weather will warm up. Yeah, I had kind of banked on having a nice September like we normally do, with relatively temperate weather, but it hasn't turned out that way. It's been cold. So 2020 strikes again. And so lots of questions about what we can do together going forward. A big dangling thread is the bazaar. It was hard not to have a plant sale this year, and hard not to have a garage sale. And we had put a lot of effort into figuring out how those things could happen, given the expansion of the daycare right here behind that wall. And we talked with Lisette, the daycare operator. We talked with the various groups, and we started working on a detailed plan, not just a goal to have the sale, but a plan to make it happen in order to give everybody what they needed and most of what they wanted. And that was going really well. Then the pandemic hit, and everything was scuttled. So anyway, couldn't have the sale, couldn't have the plant sale, couldn't have the garage sale. That was too bad. But the bazaar's coming up, or at least the date when we already have the bazaar is coming up, and there has been some worry that that might not happen, and there has been some concern over whether or not we have the wherewithal to do it. So that's another thing we need to talk about. I don't know if we have the wherewithal to do it. I know other churches are doing something akin to a bazaar, certainly not everything they want to do. We would love to open our doors and invite the public in to look around at the wonderful art and the quilts, and look at things like John Penny's art and the silent auction and all those things. We'd love to have people come in and see and do all those things. The baking, we'd love to see that. And that's all kind of up in the air. I've had ideas. I've had ideas about having kind of a walk-up bazaar, and having some baking that we could all work on. I'm certainly happy to bake. We could get some of the baking going, and maybe have a day when people could drop by and sort of walk through and not walk up to the front door at the very least, and buy some baking. I don't know, but there's other churches who are working on the same problem we are at roughly the same time, and so we don't have to we don't have to figure this out on our own. We've got partners, we've got people who can help us with that. So there's that. There's Christmas, and I always start thinking about Christmas as soon as we get back to church in the fall, and that hasn't changed this year. The way the numbers are going with COVID, and the way that public sentiment is going, I don't see us having a big giant to do at Christmas time inside the building. But again, maybe we can do something outside the building. Maybe we can. It's a bit chilly, but maybe we can have we could have a carol sing outside the church building. We could have a big nativity scene set up, and people could come in and see that or whatever. I don't know. There's lots of possibilities. I think lots of churches, lots of organizations are going to be thinking outside the box this Christmas, and we certainly can do that too. So this morning's worship service is going to be a little bit different from the last few. Fooled around with the format again. Tried to have a different camera setup, which, as you will see, kind of mixed results. I find the quality of the video this week to be lacking, but I find the quality of the audio to be outstanding. So I hope we don't have to go with one or the other. Anyway, we have a church video camera that works really, really well in daylight. Works really, really well with bright lighting. And that's what I used to record the other night. And I found it just didn't look quite as good in sort of a dimmer, more subdued lighting scenario. But I do have another camera that I think would capture things a little bit nicer, a little bit crisper. And so we're going to give that a shot this week when we do our worship service on Thursday night. But you'll see. The other thing that happened, full disclosure, I was setting everything up and we were going through all the sound before the service started. And I was walking around with my microphone on and we were testing out the organ sound, and it sounded great. It was going through the into the video camera perfectly. And I thought, oh great. Well, that's something we don't have to solve because we have to troubleshoot like every little thing. And I was super excited about that. Then when I got home to watch the video on Thursday night after we were done, that's what I do. I rush home and I put it in my computer and I check it out because I can't sleep until I figure, because if it doesn't work, I'm gonna freak out a little bit. So I took it and I turned it on and I was getting ready to enjoy Paul's prelude, and nothing. There was no sound at all. And traced the problem back to this. I was talking to Laverne. I was talking to, just sort of remembering what I had done and what I hadn't done. And turns out the organ does not go through the main sound system because if it did, it would feedback like crazy. It has a separate sound system. So if you listen to the recordings on the old days, back in the before times when we recorded the service just audio, you could hear the organ just fine. And that's because it was being picked up by the lectern and the choir microphones, which I had turned off to avoid feedback. And that's why you can't hear it, because it wasn't being picked up by the microphones that normally pick it up on the audio recordings that we had been doing, Laverne had been doing for years and years and years and years. Anyway, there was no prelude, no postlude, there was no interlude music during the prayer time. So I rifled off an email to Paul. I was to apologize because he put all that work into it and we couldn't hear it. I mean, the studio audience, those of us who were there, we heard it just fine, but on the recording, nothing. So what I did is I went through the emails and the attachments and all the files that I had accrued during the spring, back in May, and I found a prelude, an interlude, and a postlude that Paul had recorded way back in May. Downloaded those and inserted them into today's service. So the organ sound that you hear for the prelude and the postlude and the interlude is actually Paul's organ back at home in Hallville, not our church organ, although it looks like it's him playing. And I probably could have gotten away with it too. I probably could have gotten away if it wasn't for my meddling conscience. I probably could have gotten away with it. I probably could have just said nothing and nobody would notice except for Paul, of course. And maybe the people who were there, I don't know. But I don't think anybody would have noticed except for Paul, and nobody would have known except for me. But I don't know. I just felt bad about that. But again, how bad should you feel about these little things, right? Like, how bad should you feel about it? Something goes wrong in a brand new way of doing things. I mean, I never trained to be a multimedia specialist at seminary. There was no course on sound mixing and video editing and all that kind of stuff. And I mean, like as I said during Thursday, probably is now, but not then. So we're all just amateurs trying to do a professional job. Sometimes it doesn't work, as you've seen. We've had a few weeks where it hasn't been great. technically was. So this week, I think this week we hit the mark sound wise, except for no prelude, postlude, and interlude. That's too bad. But we'll fix it for next time. I think we hit the mark as far as like the vocalizations go, because it with the hand mic going through the system and directly into the video camera, I think we solved some problems. You know, just less echoey, and it just feels more immediate. Anyway, you'll see. Where I think we missed the mark was the quality of the video. It's in HD, it says, but I don't know, it's just kind of grainy, and it's not the quality of video that I would like to have. So I have another camera. It's my personal camera, and I quite like it. And I think I'll bring that next week, and we'll give that a shot. It's going to be a little bit more labor intensive on the post production end, not a whole lot, but a little bit, because the video camera I can just let it run and it's just going to go. But with the DSLR camera, like, you know, that's the camera that looks like a camera. With that camera, I have to stop it because it'll only let you record for 30 minutes at a time, and then it just cuts out. So we would record like a segment, stop it, record another segment, stop it, and then I would have all these video files that I would take home and I would stitch together into a into the service. So anyway, we'll try that this week and see how it goes. The other thing is, this week I'm my task is to record the reflection for the regional virtual church service. I don't know if some of you have been watching this. I've been making the links available when I remember. And that's the collective that is working on a regional worship service. I'm enjoying it. It's fun working with colleagues, and it's fun doing, you know, different kind of stuff. And so I thought I would, anyway, it's my turn to do the reflection. So rather than do 2 reflections this week on the same scripture, I'm going to do just one, and record it on location somewhere, and then upload that. And so if you're coming on Thursday night, I hope you do. Well, I hope some of you do. Not too many, and only if you feel like it's safe. But if you're coming on Thursday night, I ask for people to RSVP to MikePerot@Rogers.com so that we can make sure that our numbers are safe. And so basically the way it works is you let me know you're coming. We got a maximum between, there's going to be a camera operator, myself, and Paul. So that's 3 of us who are there. And then that leaves room for 9 other people to come to participate and watch. Maybe this week we'll play around with having a lay reader. We'll see how that works. Anyway, it's 10:29. I gotta go. I'm gonna go start the YouTube. I don't have to start it. The YouTube video is just gonna start. But rather than having 2 competing streams, I'm gonna end this. So we'll see you. We'll see you at coffee hour. I hope you join us in the coffee hour. The Zoom link for coffee hour is in the description of the main service video, which is labeled Sunday, September 20th, 2020. We'll see it on the thing. Bye, everybody.